Hello, hello, my beautiful sacred masculines and anybody else who finds their way to this channel. Welcome to part 5 of our Tantric Elements of Sacred Sexuality series. This was initially going to be a 4-part series, but I realized just how important spirit, ether, that fifth element, is for our spirituality, our sexuality, which is all that we're doing here. This is all about sacred sexuality, reconnecting to the spiritual energy of our sexual energy, of our passion, of our sensuality. So initially this was based on the Kashmir Shaivism teaching of the 36 tattvas, the elements that our reality is made up of. And so that's why I was only keeping it to the 4, which are those more tangible ones we experience in our world here that many people are familiar with: earth, air, fire, water. But and spirit or ether isn't necessarily part of that teaching, but we're so familiar with it and it just makes sense. It made sense to just continue on with that and add that in. So I just wanted to clarify that this isn't necessarily from that Kashmir Shaivism teaching, but so we're just pivoting a little bit, and that's great. So what we've been talking about is how the various elements, when they are out of balance, how that affects us and our sexuality, and what we can do to bring those elements into more balance for ourselves so that we have a more fulfilling, nourishing, passionate, connected experience, not only with ourselves, first and foremost, always with ourselves, but with another and with the divine, with source. So with our spirituality, with this spirit element, to me, that's what this is all about, really. It's been so shunned and shamed in our society, our sexual and sensual energy, and really disconnected from the spiritual aspects. There's like a separation there. Religion, spirituality, those are two very different things. And then over here, and then sexuality over here. It's just like, no, it's in the big book of AA, it's just that there's this one line that always just really spoke to me. It's like, either God is everything or God is nothing. You can't separate. And when I use the words sacred sexuality, that kind of triggers some people. It's just like, how can you have those two things together? It's like, well, everything is sacred, really. It's a judgment call on our parts to decide what is and is not sacred. Everything here is God. Everything here is source. Everything here is that one continuity, continued whole experience. To say this is sacred and this isn't, that's creating more separation, more duality, more disconnection in our experience, which is not what we're trying to do here on this channel. We're really trying to open to the greater unified understanding that everything is one. We are all this beautiful essence. We are all source. Everything here is source. It's all a continuity. It's all a beautiful experience of that. The more we're in judgment and labeling things good or bad, right or wrong, sin, heaven, hell, that's where we get wrapped up. That's where we trip ourselves up. That's where we cause the suffering for ourselves, because it's going to look different for every single person, right? What's good and right to you is going to be very different to somebody else. To me, what feels right for me, sacred sexuality, might not be right for somebody else. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong, good or bad. It's just a preference, really. And preferences are great and fine and awesome. But when we start deciding who should have what preferences are good or bad or right or wrong, that's when we create this hell. That's the hell on earth. That's that we've created for ourselves. So when we can step back from that and just allow everybody to do their thing, quit judging, quit labeling, quit deciding what's right or wrong, we start having a very, very, very different experience. So that's what we're doing here around our sexual energy and sensual energy. We're embracing it. We're not judging and labeling it. We're not deciding what's good or bad, what's right or wrong, how you should be doing it or shouldn't be doing it. We've caused so many problems for ourselves deciding how our sexual energy is right or wrong. That's I've gone through so much of that, my desires for this or that. Oh, I should be like this. Oh, I should be like that. Oh, I should be more whatever. I should be less this. No, this is my own personal energy, and I need to celebrate that and cherish it and honor it, and just like you for yourself. And that's what we're doing here. And that's part of bringing the spirituality back into the spirit, back into our sexual energy. It's honoring it, it's revering it, it's cherishing and celebrating it versus shunning and shaming it. So, and that's really, bringing this element back in as well is how I want to connect with another, like that, the namaste, the light in me sees, honors, cherishes, and appreciates the light in you. When we enter into sacred union with each other from that place and really honoring the beauty and the energy and the passion and the spirit of the other person, that really opens things up and changes our experience so much when we very consciously and intentionally enter into union from that place. And really, I'm thinking right now of Alex Gray's paintings of humans in sexual union and embrace, and you can see the energy flow between them and how that works. And when we come to each other from that place, recognizing the energy, recognizing how we're sharing our own energy with another and how they're sharing with us, and we open to that reciprocal, giving and receiving in that exchange, it really opens up our energy and our experience to just be so much more, and really appreciating that deep connection and that deep union, and what's actually happening with our energy when we're in connection like that, when we're in union and when we're in embrace and penetration. We're sharing energy deeply. Like, that's just wow. So entering in with that understanding and that awareness, can really open things up for us and take it to the next level. And then you can work with the energy and very intentionally move that and share and send love, be in that loving, connected place from, again, more intention. So that opens things up for us. When we're disconnected, again, in the other videos I've been talking about opposite ends of the spectrum, when we're disconnected and we're not aware of how we're sharing our energy and the importance of that and just exactly what is going on, it can be really detrimental, not only to ourselves but to our partners. There's and we feel that from each other, right? Have you been in that experience where you're in sexual union with somebody and they're just totally disconnected and they're just kind of going through the motions, or you're just going through the motions, and it's just like, sure, we can have an orgasm like that, but we can have an orgasm masturbating. That's just when the purpose of getting together with another person is to have a deeper experience. And in my feeling anyway, that's my desire to connect and be in union with another, is to have a much more expanded, deeper experience of connection and union. So that's one way we can connect with this spiritual aspect of our sexual and sensual energies. But really, for me also, it's just understanding that we are divine beings. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. We are source. Everything is that. When we disconnect and feel like our sexual and sensual energy is something other than divine, and something other than source, and something other than something to be celebrated and cherished and revered and honored, when we create that separation for ourselves, it causes confusion within us and causes more separation, and the judgment and feelings of guilt and shame come in around our sexual energy, around our desire to connect with others. And when we start recognizing it for what it is, we can really step into it and allow it to flow. And we quit restricting that energy and repressing it, hiding it, shunning it, shaming it, not allowing it to move through. And when we allow it to move through, when we start celebrating it and recognizing it and feeling free to move it and to step into it more for ourselves, it really opens up so much more in not only with ourselves, deeper connection to source, because that is source energy moving through us. We are source, and when we start recognizing that, our experience of our own selves and our world changes drastically. We stop separating, and we stop, so many of us, and what is really predicated, is that the word I'm looking for, is that we are separate from nature, that humans just ended up on this planet somehow, and we're destroying the planet. We're not part of the planet, would be better off without us. That's a deep, 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 deep sense of separation, and a deep sense of something is wrong with us. We are bad. We're destroying the planet. We would be better off if we didn't exist somehow. We've taken that in at a deep core level, very unconsciously, like the global warming kind of stuff, the disconnection from the Mother Earth, and feeling like everything else is happening, and we're somehow just like kind of placed in the middle of this experience, but that we don't actually really belong here somehow, or that we're what's the word I'm looking for, that we're not, I don't know, that we're not a part of. Basically, we've taken that in deeply, and this really affects our self-esteem, our self-worth, our sense of empowerment, our sense of self, our self-identity, our self-expression, our connection, a feeling of wholeness and love, and being celebrated and cherished and held by the universe. We feel like we don't belong here, and that comes out in so many different ways, where we're constantly trying to find where we fit in, where we belong, to find that place where we're going to feel right. We find we're looking at all these external factors to feel right and good and whole and like we belong, but it's deep core values that we've taken in from so many of these systems we've grown up in, that have us feeling that we're separate than nature, we're separate from the earth, we're separate from God, we're separate from source. Everything arises together. This is all one unified whole. We are a part of, we do belong here. We wouldn't be here if we didn't belong here. It's that simple. We are here, therefore we belong here. This is our home. Source doesn't make any mistakes. The universe doesn't make any mistakes. Everything is absolute freaking perfection. Even that feeling of separation is part of our experience and something that we move out of. So there's beauty and perfection in that too. That's part of our journey. So I understand that can be a little confusing too, right? If everything is perfection, even that feeling of separation is perfection, because it helps us to move into a feeling of wholeness and start taking steps and actions to move into that place. It's part of our journey. I don't know why I didn't set it up like this, but that's what it is, right? So again, there's perfection in all of it, but just going back to the sexual energy and the moving through, and once we start recognizing that it is divine, it is perfection, we do belong here on this planet, it starts changing our whole experience from the inside out. We start experiencing our world in a very different way. We start experiencing our spirituality in a very different way. We start experiencing our connection and our unions and our relationships in a very different way, versus like trying to get our needs met from some other person to help them fill the void, to help us to feel connected finally and feel like we belong somewhere. We quit looking outside for that, and that's part of bringing the spirituality back into our sexual and sensual expression, because we're no longer shunning and shaming ourselves. We understand that this sexual energy is a part of us. It's a gorgeous, creative, passionate part of the human experience, and it is not to be shunned and shamed. It is not to be perverted. It is not to be poo-pooed or judged or criticized. It is to be embraced and celebrated and cherished. And when we start doing that, it's going to drastically change our experience of our sexuality, of our sensual expression, of our creativity, of our passion, our purpose, our life force energy, of our sense of belonging, our connection with the divine within. It is not out there. It is here. It is here. So that's what I talk about with, and what happens when we have an imbalance in that final element that we're talking about. We can either have a real disconnection there, when we don't have the spiritual element in connected with our sexual and sensual energies with ourselves, and then bringing that to a partner. So what happens when we have the imbalance and it's lacking, and what happens when we integrate that spiritual connection into our sexual and sensual energies. So some of the practices that I do for this, because this has been a lifelong journey, right? Because we grow up with some very conflicting and challenging beliefs around our sensual and sexual energy, and there is so much shame, and there's so many ways that we really repress ourselves, and we're scared to show our energy, and we're scared to step into our sensuality and be our sexual selves. We are sexual beings. That's what makes our universe go round and our world go round. I don't know if you can hear that. There's boats honking out there. I'm still in Croatia right now, on the water, and it's gorgeous, the Adriatic Sea. I'm in a palace right now. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But yeah, what was I got a little distracted there by the horns. The universe I was talking about. Shoot. I don't know. I hate that. I don't know how to edit my videos still yet. One of these days I'm going to learn how to do that so I can edit stuff like that out. Not lose myself. I know I was starting to talk about various practices. And just this journey, what coming into how we have okay, so I'm just gonna skip that, and if it comes back, it comes back. So thanks for bearing with me. Again, I don't know how to edit these videos. I will learn, though. Stay tuned. One of the practices that I have been doing to really open to this spiritual union and connection more within myself is I really connect with Christ consciousness a lot, and not in a Christianity type of way. I had a Kundalini awakening experience in early 2020, and what opened up for me as the energy was like shooting through my spine and up into my heart and my head. My heart just exploded open, and it was the images and the understanding, everything that was coming through, the love that was pouring through was this Christ consciousness. And that was so strange to me, because the tradition that I have been studying and practicing in has been Kashmir Shaivism. It's a Hindu tantric tradition, and Dzogchen Buddhism, which is also a tantric tradition. It had nothing to do with Christianity. The deities that I connect with are Hindu deities and energies, and it was just like, why is Christ consciousness showing up for me, and what is that? Because again, my kind of experience of Christianity in this society, my family was my grandparents were very into Christianity, and it was church. That was their life, and I went to church when I was little. So it wasn't necessarily a pleasant experience for me. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't. I don't have good feelings towards it, necessarily. So to have this show up for me during this huge awakening, this Kundalini awakening, was like really shocking and strange and weird for me. But I understand now what Christ consciousness is. It's just love. It's freaking love. And I know now that's what we are made of. Everything here is love. There is nothing but love. I know we have a different experience because we're like in this human experience, but underneath it all, the core, the truth, the essence is love. So now I have that understanding now, and it doesn't mean I just live fully enlightened, but I always have that as my understanding now. I don't have to worry anymore about feeling loved or disconnected or anything. I know the truth. I know that I am love. I know that everything here is love. I know that you are love. I know that you and I are one. I know that deeply, and everything. I am one with everything. The couch, the table, this computer I'm talking to, it's all one experience, and that's just, I know that now. So now for me, like, that Christ consciousness is a sacred masculine essence to me, and I don't know why it has a masculine feel to it, but I don't know. So anyway, in my practice in the morning, part of how I like really connect with the sensual energies is, or to embody them in a way. I just wanted to share this practice with you. If it resonates with you, it's something really beautiful that I've found very powerful. Whether you are, you are a male or a female, whatever body, whatever gender you show up as, and however you prefer to connect with another gender. For me, I consider myself in a female body. I feel very comfortable in this body, and I feel very comfortable connecting with a masculine body and a masculine presence, a sacred masculine. That's my preferred connection. And so during my meditation and my practice, because for me the tantric path is all about that union between the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, bringing them together, those energies together, harmony, union, balance. And when I say balance, I don't mean like equal this and that. It's just we each have this different kind of balance within that. I think harmony is a better word. I've talked about this before, but harmonizing those energies into a cohesive whole for ourselves in a way that really supports us to be in our passion, our purpose, in our hearts, in love, fulfilled, satisfied, and in a strong sense of self-worth, and knowing our value. There's different energies that of the masculine and the feminine that come into a harmony, and not necessarily this equal 50-50 balance, but we all have I think a certain calibration that is optimal for us. And of course that changes as we move through life and our experiences changes, but that's what I mean by a balance. A healthy harmony of the feminine and masculine. So that's what Tantra is for me. It's not about an external masculine. I love that. I absolutely love being in sexual union with the masculine and connecting with the masculine. I love that. But ultimately, it needs to be within, and then we connect from that place. So for me, the practice I've been doing for some time that's really beautiful when I'm doing my practice, my meditation, is I visualize this Christ consciousness, this masculine, sacred masculine energy being in a yab yum position. If you're familiar with that, you can look that up, but it's kind of cross-legged together facing each other. And so I envision the masculine presence right here connected with me, and then I breathe that up. It gets smaller and then moves up from my pelvis up into my spine, the feminine and the masculine in that yab yum position, and I breathe it up into my heart space, and they just sit there in my heart, maybe on a lotus blossom, if that speaks to you. But so then really just like an internal recognition of that sacred feminine, that sacred masculine, but that love energy, that spiritual connection. To me, it's a very spiritual energy, which is why I'm bringing this practice into this spirit. That is one practice, and just breathing that in, that connection, that divine union within your heart space, and just visualizing that, sensing it, feeling it, and letting that energy of that connection and that harmony move throughout, but really in alignment with the sexual energy, because they're together in a sexual union in that yab yum. They're connected, giving and receiving of the love. And I breathe that into my heart space, again, in through my pelvic region up into my heart space, and they just sit there, and I'm connected with them, and I am the masculine and I am the feminine. I am both energies. It's not about an external. We can't externalize and give our energy away to some power or some partner outside of ourselves. It's got to be within, always within. So breathing that up. So that's one practice you can do to start really connecting with your the spirituality of the union and the divinity of it, breathing it in. And again, for me, that's very Christ consciousness oriented. It's very love based, and so that's a gorgeous practice. Other ways to connect with spirit is you know, the breath work. We talk about the breath work often, and really just breathing in. Anytime you're doing different breath work practices, breathing in that spiritual energy into your sexual energy, and just and the merging of the two, and recognizing that they are one and the same. And so breathing, and you can do a lot of releasing any unhealthy belief systems around a disconnection from source and divinity as it relates to your sexual energy. So setting intention with your breath work, you know, the Wim Hof breath is really, really powerful. And what I like to do is I'm breathing in love and source, and breathing in that sacred sexual energy, and I'm releasing on the out breath, releasing any unhealthy belief systems, any fear-based energies, any disconnect, any energy that isn't supporting my highest good. So that's another really beautiful practice to do, to start integrating and bringing in that divine spiritual energy into your sexual energy, and very intentionally releasing the unhealthy patterning. Let's see, another practice that is really, really beautiful, breathing with your partner. You know, we talked about that as well. So, again, look up Alex Gray, his images on energy, how the energy moves with a partner, and see that circulating energy, and visualize that when you're with a partner, and visualize it with yourself when you're breathing, when you're doing the self-pleasuring. This is very important to connect with source, to connect with that divine energy, to recognize that you are source, that you are the divine, that your sexual and sensual energy is the divine. When you're self-pleasuring, breathe that up with that intention. Breathe that energy up into yourself, that spiritual energy of your passion, of your vitality, your life force energy. Breathing that through the body, breathing that through the body. And recognizing where any shame comes up for you, any guilt or shame or any tension around that. When I'm talking about this, you know, spirituality in your sexuality, does that trigger you? Do you have a hard time with that concept, or are you really open to it and feeling like, yes, that's what's been missing, or I'm already totally on board. I've been practicing this for a while. You know, we're all at these different ends of the spectrum, but see, when you're breathing in, when you're doing the self-pleasuring, when you're practicing with that energy, and just be very present with it, and recognize how beautiful and gorgeous and amazing it is. Celebrate it, cherish it, honor it. So those are a number of ways that you can connect with your sexual energy from a more spiritual place. And again, when I say that again kind of entails or implies a separation. It's not separate. So the breath work, breathing that through, keep pulling it into your experience, keep pulling that into your experience, that understanding that the spiritual and the sexual and the sensual are all unified. It's all one. There is no separation. Very important, very important. And then watch what it does throughout the rest of your life when you start understanding that nothing in you is not spiritual and divine and sacred. Every aspect of you and your life is spiritual and divine and sacred, and to be celebrated and cherished. When we start really embodying that and really taking it in, really understand that we belong here, we're part of nature, we're very celebrated by the universe, the Mother Earth loves us, you know. When we start embodying that and recognizing that, it's going to change how we relate to her, how we relate to the other, how we relate to source and divine, how we relate to ourselves most of all, right? So those are a number of practices, and wow, this is what I am so passionate about, because yeah, that disconnect has caused us so much heartache and sorrow, and just so many challenges. And when we're disconnected from our life force energy, our sexuality, our sensuality, when we're disconnected and we're shunning and shaming that, it wreaks havoc on all areas of our lives. And when we repress that energy, we've seen what happens in our society when it's so repressed. I mean, it is coming out sideways, and we are deeply lacking that real nourishing, fulfilling sexual connection and union with ourselves, with each other, with the divine, with all of our experience. You know, we want to be in our passion for everything, every aspect of our lives, right? I'm not just talking about sexuality here. That sexual energy is our creative, passionate life force energy that we take out into everything. And when we repress it and shun it and shame it, it shows up in all aspects of our lives, you know. So That's what I've got for you today. I don't know if I'll continue on this series or not. This might be the end of it. I know I wanted to get into water a little bit more because I feel like I kind of there was more to be explored there. So we'll see. We'll see. So stay tuned. There might be more, and maybe we'll just move on to a different series and continue these conversations and explorations. And here's the part where I'm going to offer up my beautiful 12-week program that's starting here. This next cohort, depending on when you're coming to this, is in June of 2024, where we're really going to get into all of what's getting us out of balance and what's been bringing in so much separation, causing more separation in our world that really, again, it wreaks havoc on all areas of our lives. So we're going to dive into the sacred feminine, sacred masculine, wounded feminine, wounded masculine, how that's been showing up for us and causing a lot of heartache and discontent, disease in the body, codependency, very unhealthy relationship patterns that we've been carrying, lack mentality, scarcity consciousness, so many ways that all of this imbalance shows up in our real lived experience. So how do we bring ourselves into balance? How do we come back in? So very powerful program. Please visit my website for so much more information on that. I also offer one-on-one sessions, and that could be sacred sexuality rituals that I offer. Well, we'll practice sacred sexuality. I also offer one-on-one sexual union companionship sessions if you're ready to explore some getting a lot more conscious and present with your sexual and sensual energy and with a partner. So check out my website for so much more about that as well. And then we have our Sacred Sexuality Authentic Tantric Pilgrimage to India coming up in November of 2024, and that's just really going to bust the doors wide open on a lot of this. And we're going to go to the source of some of these real sacred feminine, sacred masculine sites, and really connect with those energies and open into our sensuality much more, get into our bodies so much more. India is a very, very, very powerful place and deeply transformative. So we're going to be going through this journey together and really connecting on a much deeper level around all of these topics and getting in there. It's very experiential, it's very transformational, it's very epic. Let's just say that. And you'll be with other men who are also on this journey that are ready to break free from a lot of the limiting belief systems and constructs and limitations, I said that, conditioning that we've been really mired in. So really looking to break free from that so you can step into your power, step into your passion, get the confidence and courage you need to make those steps you're ready to make to embody that life that you truly want to live, in your power. No more shame, no more fear, no more keeping yourself small to fit into family, society, religious structures, all these, constructs that have been giving us some really strange ideas of what it is to be a human in a human body and living this beautiful life on this gorgeous planet. So let's break free from all of that stuff. This is everything I offer is to support us to break free from all those limitations and really step into our truth, our passion, our sensuality, our power, our authenticity, our light, our unique individual light, and connecting with the divine within, and then bring that without into gorgeous union. So thank you so much for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. The more interaction that happens with these videos, the more it gets out to more people, and I'm just so excited about that. So thank you also, everybody, for your donations. I'm so grateful for that. It really helps to keep this channel going. And I feel so held and supported by you all. So thank you so much. It's an honor to be on this journey with you. And I look forward to connecting with you more in whatever way that shows up. So have a gorgeous day. And much love to you.